The kick is no good! It is wide right!
The final week of the regular season didn't quite pack the same punch for every game. We saw a lot of backups. Third string and even fourth string quarterbacks took the stage, which led to some pretty weird stuff.
Heady play by Cox.
Some games felt more like paperwork, completing the draft order and playoff seeding, and all we wanted to watch was Myles Garrett drag another man to the earth.
And there it is!
Welcome to Shut Up Football. I'm Jeff Stoltzfus, that's Kevin, and you're watching the Week 18 NFL Roast, where we recap the games with real numbers, fake narratives, and then give someone a soft pretzel. So let's get it. It was Florida Man versus Sad Cat Energy in the battle for the NFL's basement division. It was wetter than your mom's romance novel book club. They showed us a map of the rain that curiously included a blast radius. Players were slipping and sliding like it was Friday night at P. Diddy's house. The Panthers had no rushing game, 14 carries for just 19 yards. Baker Mayfield tackled his own man and lost the ball on simple dropbacks. The Panthers tried a flea flicker at the worst possible time outside of a bris. Being cute is not what you're good at, Panthers. I've seen Xavier Legette. The refs pooched another call after a backwards pass was whistled dead. Refs should get merit badges like Boy Scouts. That way, we can tell the good ones from the shitty ones. And if they do something like this, one should be ripped from their chest in a public shaming, not seen since the likes of Hester Prynne. I wonder how the Bucs feel about watching their coaches repeatedly leave to become successful head coaches elsewhere. The number one seed in the NFC was up for grabs. The 49ers' high-powered offense sputtered and spat. Brock Purdy was folded like a fitted sheet by the Seahawks' relentless pressure. Purdy was sacked by Jarran Reed, whose hips don't lie. He's like a beefy Shakira, which should be a flavor of Slim Jim. Get to work, Jim. The Niners only mustered 3 points all game. They cut the power to NFL red zone. Not necessary. Christian McCaffrey produced just 23 yards, not counting the parking lot. He contributed to a Brock Purdy interception after spoon-feeding it to Drake Thomas. Here comes the airplane. The juxtaposition of GMs was dynamic. John Lynch looked like he just discovered his teenage son used his favorite dress socks as a spankerchief. Crinkle, crinkle, motherfucker. And John Schneider had a swamp and a headlock. Hold up, I got something for that. This game decided the fate of the NFC South, but not in the manner in which one would expect. Neither team had a chance to win anything for themselves. Kirk Cousins was thrilled to play against someone his own age. He reminisced with Tyler Shuck about Big League Chew and the 1990 Chicago Bulls. The Falcons blocked a punt, but they didn't get to keep the punter, which should be how you get punters. It's bullshit that every team just has one. You should get to collect them, and at the end of the season, most punters wins. Chase Young unlocked a lifetime achievement, counting to 10. He celebrated for hours, until they finally flicked the stadium lighting on and off. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. The Falcons won the game, but they lost Raheem Morris as head coach, also known as addition by subtraction. This game was just pageantry for Myles Garrett to get the single-season sack record, which he did, passing Michael Strahan's record, and all it took was more games. They hoisted him like the Lombardi trophy they would never see. It was all anyone could talk about, which was weird, because Venezuela was sacked the night before. But it wouldn't mean anything if the Browns didn't win this meaningless game. And somehow, they did, with 0 offensive touchdowns. They fired Kevin Stefanski after. Even a 2-time head coach of the year couldn't turn the Browns around. Cleveland is not the appealing destination you think it is. And neither is part-time Cosby, Deshaun Watson, Shedeur Sanders, and minus $17 million in cap space. You're not looking for a head coach, you're looking for a miracle worker. Best of luck next year to head coach Helen Keller. It was Clayton Tune versus Max Brosmer, and by far the latest I've ever seen a preseason game. Clayton Tune had 6 completions for -7 yards passing, which is somehow not a franchise record. It tied for the 4th lowest. just behind a time that I assume actual pigs were used instead of balls. Brosmer somersaulted into a fumble. It was the NFL equivalent of falling off the toilet.
Heady play by Cox.
They let a fullback touch the ball. C.J. Ham with a score in what might be his final game. And if it is, I salute you in the only way I know how. Puns. Cool Ham Luke. My hammy vice. The silence of the hams. The last hammer-eye. Hamilton. Oh. I've been told these are homophonic, but I love all people. Jackson Dart nearly had his face ripped off and up chucked a backhanded toss to Daniel Bellinger for score. Joe Milton replaced Dak Prescott in the second half, cause sure, whatever. There was a scuffle, a kerfuffle, a minor Donnybrook if you will. Donovan Ezeraku was booted from the game for yanking off a helmet. How come nobody ever sits down when that happens? If somebody grabbed my face mask, I'd sit down. That makes for an awkward angle. Either they let go, or they sit down too. Now we're all sitting. Nobody fights from a seated position. Problem solved. Why? Why would you play this game? I know they say any given Sunday, but you're stretching the boundaries of reality on this one. The Jaguars should have taken a knee on every other play. Show some mercy. You're handing out free cigarettes to a firing squad. Cam Ward left injured, and Brandon Allen came in, best known for absolutely nothing. Even his parents have never heard of him. Shame on you for sending a child into the octagon. Trevor Lawrence was throwing touchdowns from the bench to guys with fake names. Quentin Morris, let me see your tax returns. Better luck next year, Titans. At least you're free of Coach What's-His-Name. Riley Leonard looked good and also kinda bad. 3 scores, 3 turnovers. They said Leonard lives in the same town as Phillip Rivers, which is either one hell of a coincidence, he's one of Rivers' kids, or he is actively hunting Phillip Rivers. Leonard's mom texts him, "You suck," before every game, just to keep him humble. Leonard even wears a wristband. Kinda weird when you need a safe word with your mom. And I have to wonder what serial killer origin story I stumbled into. Alec Pierce was ejected from the game for an accidental grazing. It was such an innocuous touch, I can only assume the ref finished. This is why people hate refs. This game ended with the requisite butternut shuffle, and cue the Benny Hill music. It was the final game at Highmark Stadium. Next year, they'll move into Highmark Stadium 2. Stadium harder. The Jets won the opening coin toss. It must have felt so foreign to win something. What does the table have that Bills fans don't? Working legs. This man lost a fist fight to furniture. Josh Allen was forced to watch from the sideline under a pool cover. Mitchell Trubisky threw for 4 touchdowns. Gabe Davis, Ray Davis, Viola Davis. Ty Johnson got a couple of scores. The Bills played without a kicker, while the Jets played without an everything else. The Jets were already looking to their offseason, content with their plethora of draft picks. And as we all know, draft picks always work out. The Lions channeled their grit into spite and tried to spoil the Bears' inevitable playoff seeding. Jared Goff brought brand new moves to the pee-pee dance. The Bears came up short in a game that ultimately meant nothing. Itty-bitty Windy City Committee.
Are you not entertained?
The Broncos took this game seriously, and the Chargers started Trey Lance. He turned the ball over twice, including a pick 6 by Jaquan McMillan. The Broncos offense didn't show much. They had to ride Will Lutz's fake leg for 4 field goals. Most people don't know it's hollow and filled with delicious queso in case someone wants to make nachos mid-game. This game was so long, the horse grew a beard. Chargers fall in a game that meant more to the advertisers. It was a face-off between the league's oldest coaches. Winner gets his heart meds. This game had so many questions, like, who the fuck is that? No, don't tell me their names. I don't want to fall in love again. This game devolved into each other's 3rd and 4th string quarterbacks. How much to get Taylor Swift in at quarterback? She can't possibly be better, but it's gotta be easier on the eyes. This game was about as much fun as the youth in Asia. Sorry, I mispronounced that. All that money, and he couldn't buy a better bowl. Matthew Stafford continued to take what he wants. Another 4 touchdowns. Colby Parkinson got 2 in his effort to make 6th-year breakouts a thing. The Rams defense had 6 sacks. Jacoby Brissett continued to be good, but not good enough. And Arizona limped to the finish line in another failed season. It led to Jonathan Gannon's inevitable firing. He's now free to begin a new life as a backup dancer for Dick's Sporting Goods. The Patriots running backs ran wild on the Dolphins. 240 yards rushing. Ramondre Stevenson turned in 3 scores. Travion Henderson had 2. They would have encountered more resistance from actual Dolphins. This team is in a rebuild, or that's what you tell yourself when starting a 7th-round rookie at quarterback. Could he be the future? And if he is, why is he playing now, in the present? That's time travel, and we're not prepared for that. They celebrated Zach Sealer for his recent butt transfer. The man can finally sit. Who wants to be the number 2 seed anyway? Nick Sirianni showed the confidence of a lifeboat captain, resting his starters and starting human totem pole Tanner McKee. When Kevin Harlan gets hold of a fact, he's like a dog with a bone.
39-year-old quarterback Josh Johnson. 39-year-old quarterback Josh Johnson. 39-year-old quarterback. 39-year-old quarterback. 39-year-old quarterback.
He's not some medical marvel. He just didn't die 39 years in a row.
39 years old?
They showed a list of all the cities Johnson was wanted for murder in. So prolific.
3 fouls on the play. All these fouls offset.
How can you have an odd number of offsetting penalties? Somebody is owed a cheap shot or some taunting. If this is how you ref, I'd treat the rules like a checklist. There are fouls on both teams, 37 by one guy. The Eagles' backup corners played like liquid fertilizer, which is a bad analogy because at least that provides coverage. It's not a good look when the opposing team realizes their best offensive play is DPI. The Commanders worked it like a rented mule, targeting Jacorian Bennett and Keely Ringo all day. They made a top defense look like a power bottom. Thank God this game was only 3 hours. They could have kept this shit up for
39 years old.
The AFC North was on the line, and it was up to the Steelers to snort it. The air was everywhere. This was the 40th matchup between John Harbaugh and Mike Tomlin. If there were a Mount Rushmore of coaches, surely these two would want to see it. This game featured the Hayward brothers, Connor and Cameron. Is the tush push more or less awkward when it's your brother with his thumb in your ass?
And he sat with his eyes closed, I'll bet you, for 20 minutes.
That's called sleeping. Rodgers had to change helmets after he discovered his first one had a liberal arts degree. I'm just gonna say it. Chris Collinsworth is a shit artist. Rookie kicker Tyler Loop, not known as Loop Doggy Dog, but he should be, missed a game-winning field goal. It was a miracle in the Steel City, like literacy. What a surprising finale to a butterfly effect that started with Justin Tucker fucking a massage table. It was a sad ending for John Harbaugh, or Jim, I'm really not sure and I don't care. 18 years is a long time to do anything poorly. He'll spend the next few weeks microwaving his farts and hoping another poverty franchise sees mid as an upgrade.
And now the Salt Pretzel of the Week.
Yummy.
This week, the pretzel goes to Trevor Lawrence, who passed Blake Bortles for the most touchdowns in franchise. I'm kidding, it's Myles Garrett. Of course it goes to Myles Garrett. I've been waiting to give this to Myles Garrett for weeks, and he finally did it. He finally did a number that was larger than another man's number. 23 sacks. It's impressive. And it's nice to see history when you're not watching the news. Yes, Garrett technically had more games than Michael Strahan in which to do it, but come on. This man plays for the Browns, so let's just forget about that part. History will. Besides, this is no fluke. Look at this man. This is who should own the record. He plays with grace and elegance, except that one time he tried to kill Mason Rudolph with his own head. Congrats, Myles Garrett. May your record last forever. Or until the league approves a 52-week season. Thanks for watching Shutout Football. Please say hi to your mom for me, and we'll catch you next week. Peace!
Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys. it sound right, boy.
Crinkle, crinkle, motherfucker.